Welcome home. We are WNST, Towson, Baltimore, AM 1570, and BaltimorePositive.com. Boy, we got a busy summer. Lots going on, not just the fact that we got football injuries and Luke's at Knowings Mills. We got the Orioles playing every day. Things happening. We're going to be doing the Oyster Tour for our 26th anniversary. 26 oysters, 26 days, 26 ways. I am getting creative with the menu items. Somebody's going to meet me at the Pepper Mill for some oyster stew in September. I promise you. Our friends at the Maryland Lottery send me with the Gold Rush Sevens doublers. We're going to be doing the Cheat Stros game next Friday, the 23rd. We're going to be doing the show down there. Luke's going to be joining me. Got some other cool guests stopping by as well. Baltimore Fire folks are stopping by next week. Some folks that I've met. A guy named Matt Coster from the Baltimore Firefighters. I've never had on the show. Big Oriole fan. Cheat Stros are in town. We'll do it. I also have the Raven scratch-offs as well. Our friends at Liberty Pure Solutions, keeping my water crystal clear, and Jiffy Lube Multicare putting us out on the road. Our 26th anniversary. I'm moving from the cupcake to like sort of crab oyster thing that's really going to annoy Jessica from Hartford Designs, who designs my website. That'll be happening next week. Wendy Bronfein and her family and good friends at Curio Wellness and Foreign Daughter sponsored our 25th anniversary. Now we're in our 26th year, but all that stuff's still up at the website. And it's been a couple of weeks. Wendy disappeared last week going sphering out in Las Vegas. And I think I may run into you at Mako here this week. We're going to have both of our senators on, Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen. Boy, things have changed a lot, right? I mean, I remember a couple of years ago going to Mako and we're trying to figure out recreational, medical. Then there's commissions and then there's laws and then there's all of this stuff. And now it's like when I go to Mako, this is something that's completely everybody talks about in a different kind of way. And how was your summer going, Wendy? It's good to have you aboard.
Thank you. My summer's going really well. Yeah, husband and I popped over to Vegas for a couple nights and we went to the Sphere. So the last weekend of Dead and Co. That was fantastic.
Oh, you saw U2 there though too.
I did, but
yeah, I'm more of a U2 fan, so there'd be no comparison for me.
Oh no, I mean, my husband, I had seen U2 before the Sphere, but it was more my husband and his brother that were I sort of was like, I don't ever need to see him again. But the Sphere factor was cool. This was we both like Dead and Co, but this to me was so much better.
Really? Okay. Well, you're a Dead person then. That's just
yeah.
It's like Elvis or the Beatles. You pick one. It's fine.
It was so awesome. There was this one point with the way that the screen was. I love fireworks, and the way the screen was, it was like these like little light pieces that were dropping down, and if you stared at one and you tracked it, it kind of looked like it was coming towards you, and so
very 3D. Yes.
Yeah, and so I was staring, looking at it, and I like tapped my husband, and I was like, I feel like I'm inside a firework, and then I like went back to it. And then a couple seconds later, I tapped him back. I was like, I think this is one of the best moments of my life.
Well, I've seen a lot of concerts. I mean, I've been on fire this summer with Sammy Hagar and the Van Halen thing. And I went out to Cleveland to see Tom Dolby, my pal, who comes on the show all the time. And I saw a show the other night, and we'll get to our foreign daughter stories. And I want to talk about tinctures this week as well. But I saw Stephen Page from Bare Naked Ladies on Monday night do a solo show. And my wife, she is a really big Bare Naked Ladies fan. Like every word, every song, all the clever stuff, made you say underwear, $1 million, like all of that stuff. So I interviewed him, had him on the show last week. He was a beautiful guy. He was just incredible. And I'm not sold as fan. He was just a really, really talented dude. And I think there's a point where you appreciate talent. John Mayer, in your case, last week, the Dead's cool. The Dead with John Mayer is a different level, and he clearly loves it, right? Like it's special for him to be he can go do his own thing and be John Mayer every day of his life. He decides to do this. He loves it.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of them up there, even, there's 3 other musicians, some of which have played for the band for a very long time, and even other incarnations of the band. But the musicality was very good. And that's the Sphere, that the acoustics in there are incredible. I mean, like I had seen them at Wrigley Field, I guess it was like close to 4 years ago, or maybe 4 years ago. And, that last time being outside in a baseball field versus being inside the Sphere, it was amazing. But, they just play so effortlessly and relaxed, and it's just like so natural and coming out of them, and it was fantastic.
I've only seen The Dead once, but I saw the real Grateful Dead. I saw them at RFK Stadium with Bob Dylan and Tom Petty on this stinking awful 102-degree day at RFK Stadium in like 1988 or 89.
It's a pretty good lineup.
I saw the real deal. I saw
Yeah.
Jerry, the whole thing, so it was good. Wendy Bronfein is here. She's our chief rock and roll analyst as well as our chief cannabis officer. Um, I guess we're now a year plus into recreational and where we are and all this stuff. And I'm still trying to understand things. And part of having you on in the beginning, it's what's a sativa, what's an indica, what's a hybrid, what's a this, how do I now like I see things like THCV, which we've talked about, and understanding cannabinoids and understanding all the science that goes into the legitimacy, how all this stuff alters how you feel, how you think, how you sleep, how you eat. Tincture is something that I don't know anything about. I have a friend. I did some traveling this summer. A friend who doesn't inhale, asthmatic. The gummy thing. Even though you have a faster onset gummy, I don't think he felt like is in control with where it was going. He might have had a brownie in Jamaica 30 years ago, or whatever. But tincture is his thing, and he was trying to explain it to me, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk to Wendy about this. So, and I guess we start at the beginning. This is not like a really heavily people prefer flower and then maybe gummies. You would say in
Yeah,
that
I mean, the
order.
top three forms are flower, vape, and like an edible gummy, like edibles as a gummy, not a different kind of edible. Yeah, but tinctures like have been around. I mean, a tincture in general has been around forever, but in the cannabis space, that was definitely one of the first forms that kind of came in and was available as there were sort of legal options, particularly because it sort of has this overly medicinal formula, kind of dosage form to it. And it's obviously done in your mouth. You put it under your tongue. That's part of the
This is
why.
literally a baby dropper, right?
Uh-huh.
Like literally. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
And like to the point of the absorption, that doing that anything inside your mouth under your tongue is faster.
Sublingual, I believe it's
Yeah,
called.
yes.
See,
So you
I
would,
did. I was pre-med. I
yeah.
mean, no, I wasn't, but yeah, I
Yeah.
understand.
So some people would like put it in and you can hold it there for a little bit. You don't necessarily put it in, just swallow it. So you can hold it there, get some of that absorption inside your mouth, which will be faster, and ultimately, swallow whatever is there. But the tincture we do is under our GI line, Soothe, anti-nausea. And that was really,
That's a fast onset.
yeah, well, because right, it's a relief product, and that was sort of similar for somebody who wanted to deal with nausea but did not want to smoke, because the alternative is the vape. You had it in the tincture, but you needed fast uptake to curb the nausea.
Totally. Now I'm understanding it a little bit better, and I also understand why it's not a product for everybody, right? Like it's just it's very medicinal, sort of in its quality, and its basis of why you want to use it, right?
Yeah. And I think also like it's depending, they're suspended in different things. So sometimes like depending on how they're produced, like for example, if they're suspended in alcohol, like the way like an extract would be, they can be like really sharp. Like, they have to be produced well, because it could be very biting in its sort of palate. And usually probably taste, unless it's kind of flavored, would taste much more earthy than other choices. And I
Tart
find
and
that,
sort of, yeah, okay.
yeah, I think in the adult use space, I think what we've seen is a lot of people who are much more interested in things that are like, like kind of like OTC medicines. Like I want medicine that doesn't taste like medicine, right? So even with vapes, like in the medical space, I think everything leaned way more strain specific than flavored. In the adult use space, flavored is seems to be very popular, and I think it's kind of, people just don't want things to necessarily taste cannabisy. They just want the effects that they can get.
I think the fascinating part is I go to Ocean City for Mako and see everybody sort of hammered on the beach and bars and out late at night, and the feeling that they want of carefree, whatever the feeling of alcohol would be. And to anybody in our audience that's used it or abused it in whatever way, and driving the porcelain bus in Ocean City on New Year's Day, which I did a few times in the 90s. Thank you to the late great Batman, who I will honor. I think I just did honor him. Maybe every time I hear Stuck in the Middle with You, I think of him. But the notion that a cannabis related drink, and I had Mark Bryan, Marylander, from Hootie and the Blowfish, guitar player, great buddy of mine for 30 years. He was promoting a product called High, H-I, and he actually wears a shirt that says High, and he's in the space where drinks. So I would say to you, and you own the business, and you're always trying to figure out where all this is going, it would seem to me we're not too far off from that becoming maybe more popular with the right push in the right way, that I would see that as a real growth sector of people wanting to do what they're used to, drinking at an event, outside, at a picnic, this or that, but having that be the way. And that's, I guess in my mind, that's when I think tincture, as when we used to get the orange juice and the concentrate, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I'm thinking about it in those terms. And then I'm also thinking about it in the flavor terms, that everything we try to do with alcohol. I did 15 years of vodka sales around here, doing the cotton candy to the tutti frutti, like the flavored part of alcohol and drinks and all of that, that I would think that we're just peeling back at the beginning of a business, that where the tincture to me went to like a real beverage.
Yeah, so I mean like the Dixie elixirs, which we've made for the past 7 years, like in on the medical side, they're sold in full bottles, and they have a cap, and the cap comes off, and there's a line, and so you can dose them out. So it's about 5.5 milligrams per dose in the bottle. But when we migrated to have adult use, the rules were shifted such that an adult use purchase, even if you're getting a liquid, the whole package can't be 100 milligrams. The whole package has to be capped at the 10 milligram dose. So I think it was probably about 4 weeks ago or so, maybe longer than that. No, maybe like 8 weeks ago, we launched the Dixie elixirs in the single form to be compliant here in Maryland. So those flavors, half and half, berry lemonade, cherry limeade, fruit punch, those are all drinkable single serving.
Single dose. Okay.
Yeah. But drinking the whole bottle is 10 milligrams. But you did kind of just touch on what is a bit of a can of worms in this industry, because the beverage sector is sort of exploding, but not necessarily in the dispensaries. It's part of what's called the intoxicating hemp space. So through the Farm Bill, there is a loophole where operators outside of legal, like state-based legal cannabis industry, just regular business, are taking the cannabinoids that come off of hemp that are not psychoactive and converting them to make them psychoactive. So it turns them into Delta 9, which is what Delta 9 THC is, what everyone thinks of when you get high, and then making beverages. Those beverages are then showing up in convenience stores and liquor stores and all these things. And it's a big frustration point, because obviously we're over here like federally illegal and constrained in a million different ways. And then the stuff that's just like us is appearing. People can order it online, they can buy it in stores. The alcohol distributors are frustrated because in their world, they distribute everything to the liquor stores, and then the liquor stores are carrying these.
I worked in the
drinks.
alcohol business for years here, selling, and
Right.
everything needed to be registered, because
it's just coming straight through.
The same thing. I talked to John Martin at the Maryland Lottery. You want everything to be on the up and up. I
Right.
know we're having an election soon about government. We want too much. At some point, especially in similar industries where something's considered black market and something's considered taxable and something's considered, oh, we're just going to look the other way. I have the Fells Point business owners on about that a lot too, and Patrick Russell and my friends over Cooper's. But to your point, what your industry's so new, the fact that people can skirt on the other side of that's just kind of that should be eye-opening for people, I think.
Well, I've spent some time this summer down meeting with like House and Senate ag committees about this, because we have this unequal treatment under the law issue, and then we have this other issue, which is like a lot of the sort of like headlines that you hear are coming off of these what are called like Delta 9 intoxicating hemp products, and different states keep trying to shut it down. But like on the other side, we're here fighting for like our legitimacy and our credibility. So, but the lay person doesn't know the difference between the two products. So if you hear some news story about kids ate these things or drank this stuff and something happened, it's like it's often coming from that. It's not coming from, the controlled market inside the state where
I
you got
didn't
to come
consider
in, be
the age
21.
barrier
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Because you can just order it online and have it shipped to you. So yeah,
that's crazy.
so
That really is crazy.
we need that loophole closed,
I
or
never know where
or
these
make us legal,
conversations are
whichever
going.
way
See,
you want to go about it.
I have you on. I learn things all the time, and I want to give a shout out for a product. It's been a couple of weeks since I've talked about this product, but it's summertime, and I've been with our friends at Planet Fitness, sort of back. I'm getting back in shape because it's summertime, and my wife's broken ankle can no longer be my excuse for eating too much Pizza John's. But this Move product is something I talk about all the time and how it works. I've been using it a lot because I've been a little bit sore and a little bit, and I can't speak enough, but Again, I own a radio station. I can't explain exactly how it all works. Explain this product to me, and I also have the gel as well. One more time, and every couple of months I bring this up because I think it is a product, and people say, "Oh, you have." Wendy on, you're talking about weed and high and this and that and medicine. And I'm thinking, what? This is a product here that my dad had Absorbine Jr. I don't even know it even worked. And Bengay stunk, even though it worked. This stuff works sort of secret because it doesn't burn, tingle, smell. It's
Yeah.
amazing, and I'm getting a little lighter. I think I bought this around 420. It's now about 820 almost, and I've had it 4 months. I bought 3 of them because they were on sale, and I'm from Dundalk and I'm cheap. You know that. I know a deal when I find one at Curio. We'll go through a rewards program in a minute too because I got to go through the app with you. But this thing's really cool, and I literally keep it right here in my office. I use it. I got an ankle issue and a knee issue. I had knee surgery, and it's a daily product for me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I have keep it in my nightstand. Yeah, so it's that one that you were holding up is like a package, like a roll
Transdermal
on.
balm.
Yeah, like a
Yes.
roll on, like a deodorant. So you can just take off the top and then rub it in and like wherever it hurts.
It's a little tacky, but it's not sticky and it's not
Yeah,
greasy at
no,
all.
no, you don't have to like really like wait to like, put clothes on or put your sleeve back down or anything like that. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people like them in there, like, like a golf bag, a tennis bag, a gym bag, all that kind of pickleball. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I also do it proactively in terms of like if I do a workout and I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt, then I do it right after, and then I find that I'm not as sore the next day. Like particularly when you think
I
about legs and you're
slather
like,
it on about an
oh, I
hour and a
can't
half
sit
before
down.
yoga. Yeah, about an hour
Yeah,
and a half before I hit,
exactly.
hit the mat. And on the mat, I get greasy. I get really hot. I do hot yoga. And, I can feel it when I touch my back because I have a bad L3, L4. I'm always trying to rub it in. I promise you it works. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that product that you don't want to be high. You don't smoke. You don't, stop by Farn Daughter. And when you do, and this is a good chance for me because I looked on here and there's no little label on here because I got it a long time ago. And you have implemented this program that you swore to me that would be easy. And I'm an idiot. And I downloaded the Curio app and it doesn't work on the app. It just works literally on a QR. Boop,
Yeah.
and you opt into this thing, and I'm going to read off to everybody because I'm right on my own phone, Lucid ID, and I have it right here on my phone, and I currently can show you how many points I have. I've been a good student, Wen. I mean, you tried to teach me this a couple weeks ago. My friends at Wise Markets, I couldn't remember that password to get my ham at Christmas time. So I have right now 367 points there. And I also have some Happy Eddie points because I had Eddie on the
Nice.
show. And I also have a caviar because I
Caviar.
gave that a try based on your recommendation. That's a high-end product. But 367 points. What can I get?
So you can, so at the beginning of so from the lowest to the highest tier, you can get vape batteries, you can get grinders, you can get dog collars, fanny packs, you can get $25 gift certificates to both the Elkton store and the Timonium store. You can get like the smell-proof storage cases, sweatshirts, Yetis, Bluetooth speakers. I'm doing this
Can I
off of
get
my.
another I'm a blunt person shirt? Because this one, I've been wearing
No,
this
they're
one.
all
It's fun.
you can get shirts, but it's all Curio. It's not, that's a
Okay.
different brand, but
All
yeah,
right. I
yeah,
like your shirt, the one with the flag on it.
yeah. Maryland.
Yeah. All right. So what else you got? Any new products this summer? I just want to give you the floor because I'm always bringing you a bunch of questions and crazy stuff, and I throw stuff at you. I know you guys are working hard. You're running a place where flavors change, seasons change, and really the science is what you guys are at, trying to figure out the best ways to use the plant.
Yeah, so we got a lot of great flower coming out now and into the fall, particularly under our exclusive line. So that's sort of the creme de la creme in terms of, checking all the boxes, the texture, the smell, the taste, the smoke, and then, that sort of optimal um profile in terms of the potency and the terpenes present and all of that. So it's like the whole shebang. Lots of good options there. We've had some fun strain names out this summer. Like Smiling Dog was a fun one.
How many
Morning Wood
strains
got
do
some
do you
love.
want to have as like, because there is a point where it's like I go into a restaurant and there's chicken and beef and and there's 15 different ways to make Wellington and chicken Madeira, and you sort of know what, okay, that's got garlic and pepper. Like when I go into a dispensary now and I see all of these names that associate with bananas and garlic and wizards and blissfuls and cherries and like literally, there is an overwhelm to it that feels like a cheesecake factory. You would admit that, right? And
Yes. Oh,
saying,
that's
I
what I
want to
refer to it.
try a little bit of this. I guess that's why single joints work. I guess that's why smaller dosages of anything, and say, what what is that strain going to do and how do I want to utilize it? And you see energetic, sleepy, whatever the
Yeah.
the vibe would be. But you guys are always creating new stuff, and it's interesting, but it confuses me.
Well, I think if you're gonna use flour or even a vape to a certain extent, like you basically want to identify, it doesn't really matter which strain. You just want to think about what's the one or ones that you used that you really liked, and then look at the label. And it's much more about those terpenes that showed up and at what strength they are. And then when you're shopping, kind of like don't need to pay attention. I mean, sometimes the names are fun, so it draws you. It's kind of like perfume, like the bottle attracts you and then you smell it. So it's like you want to just say, okay, well, I seem to love it. Like for me, terpinolene is like that terpene is like you're focused, you're doing stuff, you're energized, you're happy, you're up, but you're clear-headed. And like I love that terpene. So I will always buy a terpinolene forward strain. But the other day I was having this conversation with someone, and when I look through like my storage case, my locking smell-proof storage case, that's filled with pre-rolls, I'm like going through them and I'm like a one-trick pony. Like they are all there are a bunch of different strains. They're basically all the same terpene profile because I'm always looking for, I feel relaxed and I'm in a good mood. Like I'm never buying to get like relaxed and heavy and sleep, you know. I'm always buying in sort of like that's my zone. So if you know like if you look at the terpene profile of the strains you like best, you just buy other strains that have that, and then you're always going to get those results that you're looking for.
That might be the best advice you've ever given me. Like I've never heard that speech. Wendy Bronfein is here. She is the chief cannabis officer for us. She's chief brand officer at Curio Wellness and Far and Daughter. Lots of ways to learn up on the website. Lots of great folks and educational ways to stop by, say hello now that adult use is here, and I hope you do. And really appreciate the sponsorship on the 26th anniversary. I'm going to get the oyster and the crab up here before it's all over with. And as we get into really a fun time, right? The baseball team. Is your kid's hair still growing, Gunner, like that? What's going on there?
Oh yeah. I feel like I had some story he did recently. Oh, he told us the other night he wants bases. I mean, my backyard's like a postage stamp. He wants like bases so that he can.
Wiffle ball.
I know, but it's like, what can you just say that the chairs first and this is like we're getting bases
No,
now?
mom. No, we got to do it. That's not the way That's not the way Gunnar Henderson does it.
No, it is
Let me
definitely
tell you a story about my childhood that I've never admitted on the air here, because when I was a kid, I was so obsessed with baseball. How old's your boy?
four.
Oh, that was 1972 for me. That was Bud Harrelson and Pete Rose fighting and like all of that. So I remember when I was a boy, I watched my mom vacuum the living room, and I set up bases in our living room, and my living room is as big as this screen. in Dundalk. I grew up in a box in Colgate, right? And I had first base, second base, and we had a wall and a wiffle ball in the house in the living room. All right. It's Dundalk. It's the 70s, go with it. But my mom would vacuum. And at one point, I always wanted to help my mom around the house. I just, where I was, I did dishes, I cooked, I did all that stuff. I learned how to sew when I was a kid because my mom taught me. But I wanted to vacuum, and I insisted on vacuuming the way that the groundskeepers
Oh my God.
dragged the infield at Memorial Stadium when I was a boy. That's a true story. They would go in circles all the way around first and third, and they would fill in the middle. Then they would do a figure eight at second base, and I would do the living room. I would vacuum when I was a kid. So
Well, if
there.
I can teach him to do that, I am so down with it.
Well, there you go. Say we put bases out now. You have to mow the lawn. Don't have him mow the lawn. It's too young for that. That's how I lost a finger. Wendy Bronfein is here. She'll be at the ballpark, and it's fun though, right? We got football around the corner. Summer, it feels like
Oh, I
like
took him to training camp.
Did you? Did he
Yeah.
meet Lamar?
No, he didn't.
Uh,
He didn't meet any. Actually, he's too. So the autograph signing, you have to be like, I think 6 is the minimum age. And they were not willing because they said they were like the older kids, like the 8th graders, they really kind of pushing stuff. I don't think it's a good idea. I was like, all right.
This
He
kind of
doesn't. He
reminds
didn't
me of
know to
going to
expect
Hershey
it.
Park,
So
and you'd have the little Kit Kat bar, and say you have to be that tall to get on
right.
the ride, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, not to your age, son. There you go. Wendy Bronfein is here. You can find her at Curio Wellness. You can find him at Foreign Daughter. If you participate, make sure you're using the QR code to scan for points, because I've been doing that, and I'm going to get something good with my points. I'm going to add them all up. I'm going to hoard them, and I'm going to get something good. So something that's memorable, like that T-shirt you have. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Good to have you aboard.
Thanks.
Wendy Bronfein joining us here. Curio Foreign Daughter sponsoring our 26th anniversary. Once you get to 25, just count them all. I mean, I'm just going to have a 26. I'm going to have a 27. We're going to honor Rod Woodson and Johnny Oates and Boog Powell and anybody that wore 26 here this year. And we're going to be doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour next week at Fadley's at Lexington Market. And then once we get into September, it is full on. We're starting at Coco's on the 4th, and we're having 26 oysters in 26 days, 26 ways. We're doing 8 crab cake tour stops. We're going to the Eastern Shore. We're going to Southern Maryland. We're going to the B&O Museum. We're doing it all for the Oyster Recovery Partnership. So when you eat these oysters and you see the special little bag that you put the shells in, I'm going to be teaching you a lot about that, as well as the oxygenation of the bay and why the crabs taste so good this time of year. I'm Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore positive.